In August 2010, Taiwan experienced severe flooding due to the impact of Typhoon Khansan, one of the strongest typhoons of the year. The flooding caused severe damage to the island, with far-reaching impacts on lives and infrastructure. Typhoon Khansan, also known as Typhoon Malu, made landfall in Taiwan in August 2010 with considerable force. It was a powerful tropical cyclone with peak winds of approximately 130 km/h, 80 mph. The storm's strong winds, combined with heavy rainfall, created extremely harsh conditions for the island. The storm dropped up to 1,000 mm toward 40 in of accumulated rainfall in some areas, causing widespread severe flooding. The continuous and intense rains rapidly raised the water levels of rivers, streams, and canals, leading to overflowing and flooding. Strong winds toppled trees, damaged infrastructure, and paralyzed transportation. The heavy rainfall and rising water levels created torrents of water, which quickly inundated urban and rural areas, further increasing the extent of damage and complicating rescue efforts. Floods caused by Typhoon Khansan have caused a widespread crisis in Taiwan, severely affecting the lives of millions of people. Many families have faced a situation where their homes were submerged in floodwaters, creating a scene of devastation and destruction. Homes, which were once safe havens and centers of family memories, were now submerged in floodwaters, rendered unusable or completely washed away. People were forced to evacuate urgently, moving to temporary areas set up by relief agencies. They left their homes, taking with them what they could salvage, while many valuable assets and personal mementos were swept away or severely damaged. The affected people suffered not only the loss of property, but also faced profound psychological loss. Daily life has been disrupted, leaving them facing difficulties in finding temporary shelter, food, and basic necessities. Flooded areas become hostile environments, with dirty water entering homes, increasing the risk of infectious diseases. Floodwaters carry waste and garbage, making the living environment polluted. Diseases such as diarrhea, malaria, and skin diseases are at risk of outbreaks, adding to the burden on an already severely affected population. Panic and feelings of helplessness increase as people witness the destruction of their properties and homes, and face new challenges in restoring their lives. They not only struggle to restore their properties, but also face the psychological pain of seeing their communities severely affected. In times like these, support from the community, aid organizations, and the government plays a vital role in helping people get through this difficult time. Transportation has suffered heavy losses due to the floods. Hundreds of cars were submerged in water, their engines damaged, and their electrical systems paralyzed, rendering them useless. Many vehicles were swept away by strong currents, crashed into each other, or got stuck in the rubble, unable to move. Motorbikes, which are usually flexible means of transportation, were also submerged, unable to start, or were swept away. Public transportation, such as buses and subways, were also significantly affected. Many buses were submerged halfway, and their electronic systems were damaged, making recovery very difficult. Subway lines had to stop operating because the tracks were submerged in water, causing major disruptions to the travel of millions of people. The paralysis of transportation not only made it difficult for people to travel, but also seriously affected rescue operations and the transportation of relief goods, prolonging the time to overcome the consequences of the floods. The flooding has not only caused severe damage to vehicles, but also added to the chaos in people's daily lives. Cars and motorbikes that have been submerged in water not only become scrap metal, but also pose risks of electric shock and fire if not handled promptly. Meanwhile, public transportation systems such as buses and subways have been disrupted, forcing people to seek alternative, albeit difficult and dangerous, means of transportation. In addition, flooding of gas stations, bus stops, and train stations has severely disrupted fuel supplies and transportation. Many people are trapped in their homes and cannot go out to find necessities, causing shortages of food and clean water. Relief efforts have also been hampered as rescue vehicles cannot reach isolated areas. Rescue workers face the risk of overturning their vehicles and being swept away as they attempt to navigate flooded roads to reach and rescue people. All of these factors create a chaotic and helpless situation, as the paralysis of transportation increases the burden on communities and authorities in their efforts to cope with the flood disaster. During the flood, roads in Taiwan were severely damaged. Floodwaters flooded everywhere, turning asphalt roads into small rivers with fast-flowing water. Roads were deeply submerged. Many sections of the road collapsed and cracked under the pressure of the water, making transportation dangerous and difficult. Large cracks on the road surface, along with subsidence, disrupted traffic, preventing the movement of vehicles. This destruction not only caused damage to infrastructure, but also delayed the rescue process and the provision of emergency assistance to people in need. Floodwaters have a devastating effect on bridges, especially in heavily flooded areas. As water levels rise, the rapid flow of water begins to erode the bridge structures, putting enormous pressure on the piers and surfaces. Many bridges, especially those that are old or not designed to withstand such harsh conditions, sway violently under the pressure of floodwaters. In some cases, the piers are eroded, leading to the bridge collapsing completely, disrupting traffic and isolating affected areas. Damaged or collapsed bridges not only cause great difficulty in transportation, but also threaten the lives of those living and working nearby. Repairing and rebuilding bridges after floods is time-consuming and costly, adding to the burden of disaster recovery. When floods occur, authorities quickly deploy a series of emergency response measures to minimize damage and protect people. Rescue forces, including police, military, and rapid response teams, are immediately mobilized to carry out relief operations. They use rescue boats, helicopters, and specialized vehicles to access flooded areas, evacuate people from dangerous areas, and provide emergency medical assistance to the injured. In addition, temporary centers are set up to provide shelter, food, drinking water, and other necessities to those who have lost their homes due to floods. Authorities also coordinate with charities and local communities to ensure that affected people receive the necessary support. In response to landslides and road collapses, road crews are working around the clock to repair and reopen major routes, allowing traffic to resume and ensuring the delivery of relief supplies. Longer-term measures are also being implemented, including reassessing the dike system, improving infrastructure construction standards, and organizing public education campaigns on disaster preparedness. Authorities are working hard to restore normal life and minimize future damage. After the floods recede, recovery work requires coordinated efforts between authorities and the community. First and foremost, clearing mud and debris from flooded areas is an urgent task. Rescue teams and sanitation workers are working tirelessly to remove mud and debris, using trucks, excavators, and water pumps to clean up roads and residential areas. In parallel with the cleanup, authorities are implementing disinfection and environmental sanitation measures to prevent the risk of disease outbreaks. Mobile health stations are set up in severely affected areas to provide medicine, check health, and treat water-related diseases. Health workers also conduct propaganda sessions on personal hygiene and disease prevention, and distribute disinfectants and insecticides. Infrastructure repair and restoration were also implemented immediately. Heavily damaged bridges and roads were inspected and repaired to ensure smooth traffic. Authorities coordinated with contractors and engineers to quickly restore important routes, while implementing temporary measures such as building temporary bridges or temporary roads. For the people, the provision of basic necessities such as food, clean water, and essential items was the top priority. Relief centers were set up to distribute relief goods, helping families who lost their homes and properties. Charitable organizations and volunteer communities also played an important role in supporting recovery efforts, from distributing goods to providing emotional support to those affected. These efforts not only helped restore normal life, but also protected public health while minimizing the long-term impact of natural disasters on the environment and economy.